Hello there and welcome to the video. First of all, I hope the sound is okay. I don't have my regular microphone, but hopefully it will work. I want to have a look at this game played between, well, two grandmasters of the past. I think they were grandmasters. At least Duras was officially awarded the grandmaster title in 1950. I'm not sure about his opponent. Duras was a strong player from, born in Prague, in Czechoslovakia. He had some nice tournament successes, sharing first with the keeper Rubinstein. He became Czech champion, German champion. And I remember some, nice games. He had some strong opponents, so he had a game where Rubinstein played a really nice game against him. And his opponent, Adolf George Olland, he was a Dutch champion, so obviously he was a capable player. So let's see what these gentlemen had in store for us. Ulrich Duras, he opened with e4, and we have the French defense, d4, d5. Knight c3, knight f6, classical French, but after bishop to g5, black plays bishop to b4, the so-called McCutcheon variation. Now white tries to take advantage of the pin immediately, and black relieves the pin with h6, and white prefers to retreat to d2. Keep the pin, black will play g5 to break the pin, and black is, I think, generally okay in those lines. But bishop to d2, and well, if you don't want to retreat the knight, you have to take on c3, because if you play knight d4 immediately, I just take it, and I'm covering the bishop. So bishop takes c3, and then these are all book moves. Knight to e4, queen to g4, and here we're hitting the pawn on g7. And two ways to defend here. One of them is to play king f8, the other is to play the pawn to g6. Olland went with king to f8, and now white wants to keep the bishop, plays bishop to c1. He has the bishop pair, and he figures that the dark squared bishop is quite strong, so he wants to keep it. It could be a strong check here, and some prospects maybe on the king side in the future. So black can take the pawn, but he decides to get on with development and put pressure on the center. Queen a5 is a thematic move. White gets on with development. We have more pressure, knight e2, and now black finally takes the pawn on offer. She takes d4, and the castle she takes on c3. White takes on e4. So white is down a pawn, but he's banking on a strong dark squared bishop. King is stuck a little bit, and black is lagging in development. So quick moves like a4, bishop a3, some rook on the d file, open file, should give white, more than enough compensation. So black went on with development, knight c6, rook to d1, open file, and now g6. I guess black would prefer not to make this move if possible, but he has to somehow finish development, connect the rooks. So he prefers to give up some weaknesses on the king side. So can white take advantage of those weaknesses? Well, first he plays bishop f4. He kind of had to defend the pawn. We should note that taking wasn't possible because queen takes and rook check picks up the rook. So now, after g6, maybe it was a threat, so white protects the pawn, knight to e7 and rook to d6. Preparing maybe to double on the d file, knight d5, bishop to e3, king d7 and queen h4. Eyeing some squares on the king side, queen c7. So black thinks, well, the queen isn't doing much, he maybe wants to swing it over, at least cover some squares. And maybe you should have, after rook d1, he maybe should have played queen e7. And the game should go on. Instead, he played b6, and this allowed white a nice combination. Can you see what white did here? If you found the move, rook 1 takes d5. Very well done indeed. That's what Duras played. Pawn takes, and queen f6. Now if the king goes to the back rank, there's rook d8, check, and then this will hang. So this is forced. And now what's the strongest continuation? Indeed, it is bishop takes h6, and that's what Duras played. And well, if black takes, which Olland didn't do, he played rook g8. But if you take, it's going to be a nice mate here. And it's going to end in what we call the queen triangle. Check. It's going to be another check. The king tries to run, but there's queen to d3. We fill in, this nice queen triangle, and we give mate. I really like this mating pattern, and we have a video on that, so we'll link to that. And do check it out if you haven't. This is a very useful mating pattern, like a general pattern that we can group into other mating patterns, but a very important pattern. So rook g8 was played by Olland here. Queen h4, and this threatens mate immediately with bishop to f8. So black tried to give up material. If we take this, we can take on h6, and the bishop wants to come to h5. But black had to try rook h8. Still lost, but that was probably the best move, because white can now actually mate in 3 moves. Can you find it? It's a really nice mate, and Duras couldn't find it. He played knight f4, which is not the best move. What should he have played? I'm assuming you paused to find out. He had the very nice sequence, bishop to f8 check. We interpose, but we don't care. We take the bishop, nothing to be done, and then rook h6, checkmate. Really like this mate. Cool mate. Kind of unusual, yeah, the bishop like behind enemy lines, protecting the rook. But okay, after bishop g4, Duras played knight f4, and the game actually didn't last too long. We're about to take this, we're threatening a bishop check and then taking on h5. So black played rook h8, knight takes d5, hitting the queen, and well, with knight f6 incoming, which is actually mate, black took on d6, e takes, the threat remains, bishop h5, now we cut off the queen from the bishop, so knight f6 is no longer mate, but the bishop simply retreats. After rook 8 d8, queen to g5, and black resigned. Not much to be done, he's already done material, and white is starting to threaten some evil checkmates here, so black resigned. For instance, if you take this, it's immediately going to be mate on e7, so not much to fight for. A nice game by Duras, but would have been even nicer if you had found the very nice checkmate sequence that we just saw. Hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one. Bye bye.